Burlington High School serves a wide spectrum of students. We have students who've just recently moved to the country and may never have been in school before in their prior country, to students who are very focused on going to the best institutions, college institutions in this land.
If students get involved, if students can logically say what they want to happen at their school, they can change just about anything.
I think what's required of us is a recipe for national decline.
There are so many ways to learn outside of the classroom in the classroom.
Parents are looking for the kind of quality education that will prepare their kids as effectively as possible to work in what is a very changing landscape. And that, I think, really focuses on issues of diversity. We've heard a great deal about that, recently. Certainly, it reflects or it looks to the issue of technology, not simply technology for its own sake, but as part of an overall curriculum.
So I've gone from mimeographing and getting blue ink all over my hands. And then you'd always see the teachers with blue on their faces, or somewhere they'd always have blue on them, to now, making copies on computers and sending it instantly. And talking to you guys online, too.
Today's teachers are training kids for careers and professions that we have no idea that will be in existence from now. So I think about the fact that 21st century education requires me as an educator to stay really abreast and really on the front line of what's going on in technology.
The school of the future, like the ideal school, you come in for 10 minutes and they have these little helmet things, you put them on, you learn everything in like 5 seconds. It's like, yes, I can go home.
I think of a more digital classroom, courses online.
Cutting down on paper in the class would simply just help BHS's involvement in creating a cleaner environment.
If we are in like history class, maybe we can see the real things in front of us. And maybe we can just talk to the people in the history. That'd be cool.
If you have some search on the computer during class, so you can just do it like right there while you're in the class.
It's unfair to ask a student to type an essay on computer for homework if that student doesn't have a computer at home. However, how do we balance that? We create open access labs. This school has one open access lab for 1,000 students.
I just saw a news about how student is like to use the internet too much, so they don't know how to communicate with people. So I feel it's a sad thing. So I still think the school should be kept. I don't want like in 20 years, school will be disappeared or something. Like people have or homeschool just using the computer.
I think it's important to have a personal aspect to education. Teachers and students still need to have kind of this bond which facilitates the learning, and we need to be careful not to venture too far off into technology to the point where education becomes impersonal.
We need to focus a lot on incorporating communication verbally and through writing with the technology that we have.
There are useful ways of using technology. There are useless ways of using technology, and there are distracting ways. It's easier to get information, so education was more focused on giving kids information, but it's become so easy and so quick to get information. I feel like it needs to become more about how we utilize the information, how we analyze it.
I don't see standardized testing in the future at all. Well, hopefully, because I find it to be really pointless. If one person from a very high income family would take a test and someone who barely can speak English and came here about 3 months ago is forced to take this test, the score is going to be very, very different.
It's kind of detrimental to just take a class for the sake of taking the class and learning the material and learning it for a test. It's just like informational bulimia.
We have a lot of students with a lot of talents and a lot of non-traditional talents.
Non-denominational inter-school research special.
Special, not.
Like a microphone more towards you. Yeah, like
So it's directed more towards you, things.
On my web show, on the BHS website, it's an activity that me and my friend Ryan really enjoy, like, because we're not sitting in a classroom. Like with BHS Today, we go out, we get information from the administration, we write it down, we get news from the principal, we come back and we film it. I'm also, in the meantime, learning about editing, about shooting, about lighting, and it really helps because it's a hands-on activity, which is fun.
Student interest is really important, and the classes that they want to take should always be considered, and their levels of success in certain areas is very important. But at the same time, I think that those things can't be considered until a high school student reaches a certain level of proficiency in a large array of areas.
I think that the idea of tracking is very interesting, and also that we haven't, as a school, I think, explored with it too much other than, you know, typical trades track or college prep track. And I think the idea of focusing it down onto that student's personal interest would be very interesting.
One drawback that you do tend to get from such a diverse school is that there is still kind of the segregation that happens between students.
After the X plus H. Okay, that's what's the...
There's such a kind of crossing these lines of tracking seems to be such a taboo, where it wouldn't even pass through someone's mind taking an honors class to, well, if they're having trouble in their honors class, maybe take non-honors.
I have a lot of friends who a couple years ago didn't speak any English, and I have some refugees in some of my classes, and I think it's really helpful for everybody to just integrate the whole population and have some classes where you have a mix of everyone, because it does give you a different perspective. It gives everybody a different perspective.
I know you guys have some awesome dishes that you make. Like I know the Nepalese, they made dumplings last time. So
Cooking
good.
day.
So good. Okay, so you guys agree? Okay, raise your hand if you want to do it after break. Don't care? What about you?
What I would love to see is a real blending of the cultures, and instead of just having, you know, diversity week, bring it up, you know, every day and really integrate it into the curriculum. Talk more about African studies, maybe have an African studies class. I think it's something that most of us students don't really know that much about, but certainly need to because of our interaction with the refugee community.
The most harder things for like us, this kind of like foreigner learner, is in the language part. So just learning English and catch up. Something helped me learning English. I think the most important thing is like you don't afraid to talk to people. You don't afraid like people laughing at your accent. You just don't afraid to talk.
Like in movies, some scientists, when they're making the experiments, they make things like come to real, like make it like real happen. You can like see it's working. If you want a cookie, like that's really good. You can like turn it to big, so like big enough for everyone to have some.
4, 3, 2.
Good day, Burlington High School. I'm Holden Blanco.
And I'm Ryan Boera. Welcome to the non-denominational winter school recess special.
There still will have to be a definition about what high school education means and what getting a diploma means, what you're walking away with and knowing and being able to do. But people will maybe on a more individual journey in getting there.
It wouldn't be about the specific technologies. It would be more about having the resources to bring in whatever it is that we need or feel we need to have a successful learning environment.
20 or so years down the line, walking through the hallways of BHS, I'd like to see that technology is being used in an effective way, that it's not being used just for the sake of using new technology.
I could see some traditional style classrooms. I definitely think that there's going to be a place for that, especially if there's some small groups of people who really want to learn together, but have a little more privacy and quiet. I also see some larger learning spaces, perhaps movable walls.
You can impose things from the top, but they're like plants without strong roots. You need to have ideas grow from the not just the teachers, but the parents, the students, community members, administrators. Encourage them, push them to create a great vision.
I wish we have a better laptop in the future.
Our school could have a room for teachers to conference with students in the teacher lounges.
Students can work with local scientists on their projects.
A nice room for the band to play in and for the orchestra to play in.
I feel like the administration is at a point where they're willing to accept criticism, accept suggestions, and work with students and community members to make a school that kids want to go to, kids are proud of, and kids like really value.